Everyone has the same 5 core areas of their life that ultimately determine how happy they'll be. Unfortunately, most of us have developed failure habits in each, and it's Will Moore's mission to help replace those with success habits to maximize momentum. After exiting his business for a combined 9-figure sum, Will learned it's not just about becoming an entrepreneur of your career, but an entrepreneur of the most important business you'll ever run, your life. And to crush it in your life requires firing on all cylinders in your 5 cores by continually taking action, building habits, and maintaining balance in each. Hello, and welcome to the 5 Core Life Podcast with Will Moore, founder of More Momentum. If you've not already, please make sure to follow and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts so that you get notified when new episodes drop every week. It would also mean the world to me, to Will, to the entire 5 Core Life community if you would share the podcast with others in your network. Next time someone asks for a referral, put 5 Core Life down. It's the only way that we could grow the community by helping you become the best version of yourself, helping others become the best version of themselves, and in turn, the world, the best version of itself. So thank you for sharing the podcast. On today's episode of the 5 Core Life, host Will Moore sits down with Shaun Zimmer, aka the Viking. Will and Shaun discuss how to go from rock bottom to climb to the top of the world. Beware, you can't buy it for $9.99 online. Shaun also talks about the power of being vulnerable and how to turn that into gold. Are you ready to fire on all cylinders? If so, let's go.
What's up, man?
Hey, Will, how you doing, brother?
There's that beard. Look at that guy. Dude, so your page is awesome, man. Like that, it's inspiring to me because one thing that I'm trying to do is get more into just get all up in that family biz and really record those moments, those little moments in time that, are really cool and special, not only to you, but people can kind of obviously get into and connect with and relate to. And I think it's hard. There's so many people out there doing stuff and it's hard for people, I feel like, to kind of be able to capture that. You do an awesome job. That one that you did was the one that caught my eye, where you're in the tutu.
Oh, yeah.
And you say, it doesn't matter how manly you are when your little girl wants to have a fairy tea party, you do it. Love that, dude, because I have a 4.5-year-old, and I have a 17-month-old, so 100% absolutely correct. It's like your world becomes your kids. I see you. So you have one daughter, is that correct?
Just the one daughter, yeah, one daughter and a couple.
And ego, all that stuff. It just the amount that you have. It's not that it completely disappears, but it greatly kind of. You're very humbled, right? And it's like, okay, this is what life's about. It's not about me anymore. It's about this person.
Oh, exactly. The contribution to that and everything that comes along with it. Yeah, just getting down to that level and immersing yourself in that it's an amazing experience. When you just let go of everything, like you said, your ego and whatnot, and just fully embrace yourself in that moment. That's where it's at. It's those moments that we live for, and we got to remember that and stay where our feet are at and enjoy those, right? And I know a lot of us have a hard time, as you're saying, and that's why if you follow my stories, I capture. It's just this is what we're doing, and this is life, and capturing every moment we can.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about. So you're in Canada, yeah? Canada, yeah.
Got a fresh layer of snow on the ground this morning, yeah.
Is this your first big snow of the year, or have you already had some?
This is our first one of the year, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm in Chicago. We're probably not too far behind you.
No, it'd be coming.
It's coming. So, yeah, tell me about, kind of how you just in general, we'll just get some information on you. Like you said, you're an open book. Just tell us about yourself, who you are, what you're doing, and why you're doing your page and how you're trying to inspire people.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, it was funny. I was just flipping through your, get to know Will on your page there, and I saw how you came across the book "How to Win Friends and Influence People" by Dale Carnegie, and that's a similar story to me. That's a book I came across, probably almost 15 years ago now, and I remember it sitting on my desk for a year, and my few friends I had at the time looking at it, kind of laughing at me or whatnot, and I never got around to reading it. I finally did, and that really set in motion a change within this man on really just a massive self-development journey. It's coming from somebody who I came up not in the best ways. I had troubles with the law, a lot of different things that have shaped me into the man I am today, which I'm happy about, with some experiences that be a little nail biting to some. And, I took a lot of that pain and really started taking the knowledge from all the amazing mentors out there, all these amazing books, and discovering inside why I was doing the things I was doing, different outlooks I had, and then understanding why other people did the same. And that just kind of started this snowball effect of me helping individuals. At the time, I had run a landscape construction company that I started, was doing quite well with it, and came across to a point where my old ways caught up with me and I lost my driver's license, and I had to make a transition on that. So enter the online space and started coaching people as a trainer, which I've always done on the side, personal training. And
So you've always been, people, I don't know if they can see you, you're jacked. If they go to your page, they'll see, you definitely do not have issues with your physique. So I see there's a side, is that the side-by-side I'm seeing on your page? Is that old you and new you?
Those be, some before and afters. I hit a point where I fell off my fitness route, but I've always been really in the fitness space, training people. And then I entered into a network marketing company. And that's how this all began for me, coaching people, because I took sales seriously. I wanted to be a good salesperson, so build rapport with people. And I was having small talk. And in the midst of that small talk, I was realizing how much pain people were carrying with them and how hard they were having a hard time with their life. And instead of this product I had, I didn't want to talk to them about that. I was like, I got this analogy I pulled from this book or that book I can help this individual with. And that's what started it all. I began doing that and changing lives just on a day-to-day basis. And it really fed something within me. Just the fulfillment that came from that was unimaginable. And there I was, 4 to 12 hours a day doing that and not getting the bills paid. And I was like, oh, well, this is a bit of an issue. So maybe
right.
I was like,
I can relate to that.
Why don't we make a business out of this and really help people? So that's what led to the Viking on Demand, where I coach people with mindfulness exercises, mental toughness, diving deep into understanding yourself and gaining awareness. I think quite a lot of similar things you're getting into and doing for people. So that was that. And then obviously the memes that have gone viral, there's a whole story behind that. I actually the first meme that ever got made that went totally viral and billions of people, I don't even know who made that meme today still. Someone took one of my pictures and made it physically. It went completely viral. And I saw a place for that with all the feedback I got on how it's helped people step it up and whatnot. I was like, well, let's start doing this. Let's start putting positive parenting content out in the world. So that's a whole other segment of it.
Love that. Yeah. So what was the meme? Where can we find that meme? So I didn't even know you had something that went viral. That's really cool.
I find that on my page. It's where my daughter and I are both wearing plaid, and she's changing a tire. We were actually going out for our annual chicken hunt, and we had a flat tire on the Jimmy, and she was ecstatic to learn how to change a tire. So I was excited to capture that moment. I put up my phone on video, took a screenshot. She was changing the lug nuts, having a blast. I put it up on my Instagram just very shortly after I finally got onto Instagram, and someone took that picture, and a couple months later, I had people call me, you're on the news, you're on Jimmy Kimmel, and like all over the place, and nobody knew who it was, but it went completely viral. And that's what started that.
Wow.
Team Dad.
Dude, that is so cool. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I found it. So you put the caption, or somebody put that
No, I didn't put the caption up. I just put the picture up. Someone took the picture, put the caption on. And that meme is, when I say billions, that's definitely not an understatement. It has gone everywhere.
That is insane. So that's interesting. So what happened? So you post a picture like that, it goes by. Were you even tagged in it, or was it like your likeness?
No, nobody.
Your picture.
Nobody. I wasn't tagged in it. Just got around so much that people recognized me. And what was ironic is the day I found out about it was the same day I posted another one that when I saw, I was like, I'm going to make this picture into a meme. And that next one went viral. That's where I was blow drying my daughter's hair. She was excited to get ready for a day out on vacation. And they just started spiraling from there and started creating them. And the direct messages that come in, whether it's from mom or dad, and just how it really has allowed them to look at things in a different perspective, slow it down, step it up, not worry about being a man's man and getting into a fairy outfit or whatever it might be.
Yeah, that's so great. I love that.
The impact of that, and it just kept feeding that. I'm ashamed to say, with all the business startups lately, that I haven't been producing that content. We haven't been taking the time. If you watch my stories, I do the vlogging where we just hit it, whatever's happening. But we haven't created any of those timeless pictures for a while. So I got to make sure to get back on the gun doing
Hey,
this.
I get it, man. It's hard, you start doing this stuff and all of a sudden it's like, okay, you got this here and you got this component and this component and I always say I wish I could clone myself. So I totally get that. But I think the reason you've resonated with people, right? Being vulnerable is something that is such a great thing that if only more people did it, they would experience what you're experiencing, right? So just being vulnerable and being like, this is me. Look, yeah, I'm this big guy, but I still braid. I comb my daughter's hair, blow dry it. I play fairy tea parties with her. I mean, that's real, and that's by doing that, it touched something in other people, and hopefully, and I'm sure it has inspired other people to sort of get rid of those stereotypes and just throw out the window of all the I should be this type of person and I need to project this on social media. I'm this big strong guy, and you're just kind of like, well, this is my life. This is who I am. This is what I'm
Exactly. I post my failures. I talk out of my heart, and that's how I think it should be. We all get stuck in this midst of really attaching our character, our identity to somebody who we think people want to see, and it's a deadly slope to get down. So I really pride myself in being authentic and impeccable with my word, and hopefully that inspires other people to do the same. And I think it definitely has. I can say that for sure. So that's something that feeds a fire within me. And I'm sure you're familiar with that feeling.
Yeah, man, it's great. Yeah, we have. It sounds like we have some parallel type stories. Definitely, I call it my rock bottom bounce, and I had mine early in college. Sounds like you had some struggles. I'd love to talk a little bit about some of those. Speaking of vulnerability, and then you kind of turn that page and realized, well, it's either if I keep going this way, things aren't going to play out so well, and it's a shame. It's funny. Almost everybody I interview and talk to, there's so many, I call it rock bottom, but when you people that have hit that real low, and it's like, then it's like something kicks in, that survival instinct kicks in, and then that's what motivates them. And what I always talk about is it's a shame that kind of there's so many people out there that are kind of hovering between their rock bottom and their full potential, and they never have that cataclysmic moment that says, get off your ass and change your life, right? And they're just kind of like, just kind of going through at a 5, not a 1, not a 10, but a 5. And, those are the ones that, to me, that's the saddest, because it's like they go through their whole lives just kind of in a mediocre state and not getting, everything that they can out of it. So yeah, I mean, it's really cool to see somebody, like yourself that kind of got, and these other, like I said, different people I've interviewed where it's like, okay, I need to do something. And then when you do turn that corner and you start to actually make positive changes in your life, it's addicting, isn't it?
It is. It's so addicting. And yeah, and there's been many of those changes as well, not just one rock bottom, if you want to call it, and even when things seem to be going, and then life just throws such a curve at you. And I've really learned to trust the process and understand that life has, one of my favorite mentors at Milet says, life happens for us, not to us. So really trusting that there's a reason for this. Okay, there might be a huge negative to this, but where's the positive? Even if that positive doesn't outweigh the negative, I still got to play my best hand that I can with the cards I'm dealt. Where's that positive? Let's take it. Let's run with that and follow along and see where it goes. And ever since I just kind of let go of the reins on that, life's been a lot more enjoyable, a lot less war inside the head, and just a lot more peace.
That's it, man. Yeah, I was talking to one of my guests last week about this a little bit. The mindset just being such a power. That's for these 5 cores that I talk about, and that being the number one most important, because if you don't have your mindset working for instead of against you, you're going to be in trouble. And just getting to that point where it's like you get it, you fail forward. So you're not going to love. Nobody likes failing. You're still going to have those stings. You're still going to have stuff that hurts when you fall on your butt sometimes. But when you are able to change your perception on that stuff in terms of, okay, this sucks, but what did I learn from it? And how can I grow from it? Like, that is the game changer, right? Because then it doesn't debilitate you. You're not frozen and like, oh, I'm a failure. I'm never going to be this. I'm never going to do that. I better just go back to my ho-hum, whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, that mental block can just destroy people if you it really, the way I look at it, I teach a lesson on problems, and look at it, 90% of your time, your energy and focus should be on the solution. and only 10% on the problem. If you have that reversed, you're just amplifying that. It's just feeding into it, and you're not getting anywhere other than a real big dark depression for most people often.
Yeah.
It gets scary.
Yeah, most people, that's exactly right. The dwelling, they focus on the bad stuff. And I mean, I look at all the time I wasted back in the day on just focusing on that bad stuff. And not only are you wasting your time and it's freezing you and you're not allowing to build momentum in your life, but then, it's also actually compounding on itself, and it's creating this just negative cloud around your whole life that, doesn't allow you to be able to ever move forward and do the things that you want to do. So anyways, that's cool. We're on the same page with that stuff. Anybody that's ever kind of started to level up and help other people in their own life and then help others, I feel like you have to have what you just said. And it seems like it's my hat's off to you for getting. So speaking of some of these earlier things that happened, so what was it? What were some of your earlier struggles? What were some of your rock bottom moments where you were able to catalyze?
Well, it was about a 15-year path of destruction to discovery of finally understanding. I had I lacked a sense of belonging and had a massive fear of abandonment from my father leaving as a young child, which put into spiral lots of destructive behavior. I grew up in the province in Ontario, just outside the capital of Canada in Ottawa. Beautiful, beautiful area. All my family's still there. And I, at a young age, got into using forms of escapism, not just through use of marijuana and drinking, but I ended up becoming a thief, sneaking out at night, and got to a point as a young teenager, 15, 14 years old, I was stealing cars and really racking up a lot of trouble. And it was amplifying to quite a fast extent, and not a nice degree to be working at for what you're looking. So I ended up finally getting caught in trouble with the law, and I had a lucky break as, what was I, 17 years old. I was faced looking at possibly being charged as an adult because I was so close to that switch over to being 18. And they were going to make an example of me, most definitely, in this detective. And I'm writing a book on this right now where I open up into all the details. I won't bore you with too many, but this detective was retiring that week, and he just had a good feeling about me. When I look back at it, I almost think he's a messenger from God. And he said, he's like, here's your dad is, he took me out for lunch and asked me if we could recover a bunch of stuff. I showed him where I had ditched vehicles and whatnot. And I hadn't talked to my dad for about a year and a half since he moved to Winnipeg. He moved to a different province, leaving all those kids for his wife. My dad's a great man. He had his reasons for that, but it's something it hurt, right?
Of course, yeah.
The detective said, your dad's here. You haven't talked to him for a year and a half. He's got a plane ticket for you to move to Winnipeg tomorrow. Everything's off. You're free. Or you want to stay here and look at your charges. You're facing, 5 to 10 years. And so within 24 hours, I had packed up, left everybody, and was into another city. And that didn't solve the problem. I was still rebelled, and lots going on. I was still getting into trouble. Ended up finding myself behind bars here for a short period of time. And that was really the wake-up call when I had done that. And I looked around and saw where my life was going and knew the break that I gotten before.
So that was more your rock bottom when you actually got arrested.
Yeah, that was one of the rock bottoms when I actually got arrested. And then from there, I started my landscape construction company. Well, I started working for a landscaping company, and within 2 months, I had just picked up on the skills very well. He had me leading the whole crew. And I was like, well, why don't I just do this on my own? So I started a construction company, literally on my bicycle, with $500 to my name. I put a hitch on my girlfriend's car. She let me buy a little cheap trailer and drive her to work and do these jobs in between and pick her up. And I built that into being one of the award-winning top companies in Manitoba for 2 years as best landscape contractor. I ran that for over a decade, and had a great passion building beautiful things for people and seeing the effect that happened when I surprised them with little things and whatnot. But after 12 years, I ran myself in the ground. I wasn't the best at building culture and developing employees to stay, so I was still a one-man show after quite some time, and having an award-winning company and still having to do everything. I ended up becoming a huge asshole. I wasn't a nice person. I developed some big anger issues, and that was in the midst. I decided, okay, I'm going to put this off to the side. took a position with the railroad working in the middle of nowhere so I could just be with myself and my thoughts. And I did that for 2 years. In the midst of it, though, I lost my entrepreneurial fire, discovering that I truly am an entrepreneur. That's where it's at for me. You know, I think some people just, that is who they are. I discovered that. And that was at the same time I lost my license. So I couldn't go and drive out 12 hours away for this position anymore. Started space, and here we are. as I said, everything progressed. So in the midst of that, though, running that company, you know,
That's a cool story.
I was there was times where I was living in my car for one winter. I had no money. You know, I was going to bed for dinner, eating tuna if I was lucky to get it. My pride was too big to go get food stamps and welfare. Ego was a big problem. There's a lot that got me to the road I am at today, and that pain and suffering that I've felt and dealt with, I think it helps me really connect with a lot of people that are going through whether similar things or other things that can be relatable. So having that those rock bottoms made a big difference.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, that's you know, I appreciate the vulnerability. Like I was saying earlier, you know, everybody's got things in their life that have happened that they're, you know, can be either let it sit in their own consciousness and be ashamed inside and let it kind of run them and let that fear and that shame kind of run their lives, or they can kind of, I mean, how good does it feel to just talk about that now, right? And just get it out.
All of it it's amazing. Yeah, absolutely.
Right, because it's like you had that journey and you wouldn't be where you are without that stuff. So it's like you're almost grateful for having it, while at the time you would have never said that, right? And you know, I just saw somebody's comment here saying, life is hard with me and my poor little siblings. We're suffering here and things are really out of hand. We live from hand to mouth. I mean, I hope you're listening to his story here, Shaun's story, because he just kind of was in a similar situation, and you know, he just took ownership of his life, and he made it happen, and he just went out and he just took the action, and he just kept putting one foot forward in front of another, and now here he is. And that's, to me, that's the advice I give everybody. There's no magic pill. There's no, even if you were to give somebody that's dead broke, that hasn't shaped their mindset into what I call a growth owner, and they still have a fixed victim mindset, they're going to lose all that money and they're going to be right back in the same situation, you know. So it's you can't buy it for $9.99 on the internet. You got to earn it. You got to do it one step at a time. It's not going to be easy. It's going to take work. You got to make commitments to yourself. You got to hold yourself accountable. But then the rewards, they're sweeter than anything, aren't they?
I love how you put that, growth owner. I've never heard that. You know, I always talk about people evolving to a certain point, and really needing, especially with the people you surround yourself with, you got to kind of seem to be evolved to a certain point, degree together, to be able to really interact and grow together. People that are going to really expand your capacity. So I love that, the growth owner. That's a great way to put it and look at it. Thanks.
Yeah, there's a couple books I read similar as you. I was a self-help in college. I read that How to Win Friends and Influence People, and it just shifted my whole kind of, I was like, wait a minute, there's another way to look at life. And I became like addicted to self-help, and so to speak. And I was using myself as a human science experiment and just trying all these different things, right? Yeah. And I've read, I can't recall right now off the top of my head, but there's books that talk about, you know, making sure that obviously that you're growing is a big part of the experience. And there's one in particular I kind of got something from. I should be able to quote it. It's been so many years. And then the owner part as well, the owner mindset. It's like, you know, it's just you. Nobody else is going to bail you out. And if that's the way you're looking at things, you know, I call it a fixed victim is the opposite of that.
Yeah.
You're either a growth owner or a fixed victim. And so, you know, you gotta do it yourself, and it's not easy. And there's so many people, you know, unfortunately we're living in this time where, you know, with the technology and being able to get anything you want in a click of a button, you know, it's fooling people into thinking that life is easy. And that, you know, you see these what do they call it? Insta celebrities, right? Where they just, you know, these kids are 16 and they have 2 million followers, and they're making all this money because they, you know how to skateboard, or they know how to do this. And it's like, yeah, that's, you know, 1 in a million, you're going to get that, but you don't know what their life is. You don't know if they're actually happy, and if they're, you know, you really do. You've got to earn it. Like, there's just one way to do it, in my opinion, and you got to do it. the slow way. My equation of life I talk about is your belief system plus your repeated actions plus time equals who you will become.
Aggressive, something I'm always talking about. You got to have patience. There's an equation of time in there. That doesn't mean just sit around on your ass and not do anything. Aggressively be patient and make it happen. And that's the reason why, I have what I call my 25 life challenge, the 25 mindfulness lessons that I feel are give people the tools to really succeed in life, but I ingrain it in their mind every day. Every lesson they show up for that. Like, you have lifetime access to this because it's not going to just happen overnight. You need to repeat. It's like training isn't something we did, it's something we do. And I can give you the answers or a tool chest that you can use to get yourself through the door you want to go through, but I'm not going to drag you through that bloody door. I don't care if you crawl, walk, or run, but you have to put yourself through it. And here are the things that you can utilize to help. There are people that will help you, but nobody's pulling you through it. And if they do, they're doing you a disservice. You need to get yourself through that, is the way I look at it, right? Or whether it's a wall you got to climb, whatever analogy you want to look at. But as you nailed it on the head, and then consistently, I've even seen people, including myself, have hit a point of evolvement, if you want to say, and then a regression where I haven't really stuck onto it. And you let life get in the way, and you start living in the future, living in the past. And it's something that really we all need to shape up and stay on top of.
That's right. That's exactly right. No, yeah, we're 100% on the same page. And I tie it, habits is just in the last 5 years, really, is something that's kind of entered I always knew habits were important, but it really just kind of clicked with me. Have you read the book Atomic Habits by James Clear?
One of my favorites. I actually just revised my whole lesson on habits, pulling samples from that book. It is a game changer when you look at, really not the goal or the habit that you want to, the personality that would be behind that the person who reaches those goals and habits and whatnot. Yeah, that's one of my favorite books by far. just read it.
Yeah, he nailed it right. You just read it recently?
Yeah, just recently. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And sorry, I had a call coming in. I'm on silent. I don't know how that happened. So I missed a little segment of what you said, but I think you're saying you revised your current program based on some of the stuff you got out of that book, as did I. I definitely, because at the end of the day, right, it's habits, and it's these habits that you form. And habits don't care if they're good or bad, helping or hurting us. At the end of the day, they're going to do their thing, and they're going to take their toll over time. And so it's like, like you were just saying, sometimes you may think you formed a habit, but then you revert. And so you just gotta keep yourself in check. And I have a system that I use, and I'm developing an app I'm excited about. Like I was saying earlier, it's all about, it being, by me becoming addicted to self-help, I was like, how do I get the masses to do this, right? Because people that get into it, it's still a fairly small population, a percentage of the population, and there's still a negative stigma to self-help, called personal development, self-help, like, what's your brain broken? Why do you need,
exactly.
I coach some younger guys from my alma mater, my college at Rollins College, and they talk about, they call them hardos and tryhards. Like, why are you trying so hard? And each generation has its words for, or its phrases for those that are down here that are trying to keep others from going up because it makes them feel bad about themselves, right? And that's all it is. It's like the masses don't want to see you succeed because then they feel worse about themselves. But like
in a bucket, if you ever heard of that analogy with the crabs in a bucket, if one can easily climb out, but all the other ones pull it down because they want to stay on the same level and don't see anybody else reach out. Yeah, and that is you nailed it with that stigma as well. It's something I see often when I'm chatting to people if we're doing any kind of promotional stuff, and it's like, well, we have a mindfulness course that will really help you level up, and like, I want to talk to you, Shaun, about fitness. I'm like, well, even if you want to talk about fitness, this is where I'm going to start. You have the thought that, well, my mind's not broken. Well, everybody has room for growth, and I'm sure your mind is broken to some way as well, but we don't even need to admit to that. And that was one thing that was very humbling. The people I've connected over the last few years, I've really manifested. I'm a big in visualization. Some of the biggest influential authors and self-help coaches out there that I've looked to and taught lessons by, I manifested the relationships now where I'm actually friends with them. They've helped me develop the courses, and I've sat down with lunch with a lot of them, and I'm always taken back by these individuals who've written the best books ever, have the best lessons, and they're sitting there taking notes from an individual like me or somebody else. They're really absorbing everything, right? They're never.
That's the difference between a fixed victim and a growth owner. Nobody has it all figured out. You're constantly learning every day. And anybody that says, oh, I don't need to learn anymore, you want to stay away from.
Exactly. 100%. Yeah. No, nailed it on that. Yeah.
Love that. Yeah. And so, right at the end of the day, just tying this, we got to wrap up here, but tying this theme of this, I think our conversation, growth owner, you started, I have my own story. You have your story of being, you're kind of rock bottom and becoming your own growth owner and figuring out and basically saying, I need to figure out a way to do it. I'm going to do it. And then habits started coming into play at some point, and you started developing the right habits, whether it's eating, whether it's, your mindset. And that's why I have these 5 cores. Like you're saying, like you have, some people come to you, you're jacked. I just want that. I don't need the other stuff. It's like, well, no, they all tie together. You can't, you got to fire on all cylinders, as I call it.
Yeah.
You can't just have one. And so, right, this app I was kind of starting to tell you about, it's going to be gamifying it, getting people addicted to it, leveling up, and that you're the spaceship and you have these 5 cores and you're taking off to different galaxies and planets and aliens and asteroid fields you have to navigate, rather than like a homework assignment, like, I got it. Because there's habit apps out there. I don't know if you've tried any. I've literally tried them all.
No, I'm very curious to see here. Maybe off camera we could chat a little further on the development while you're doing that. Sounds very interesting. Yeah. I haven't had a chance to. I'm just starting to immerse myself in technology a little bit more and getting myself out there. 3 years ago, I was a guy living in the bush, so we're lucky I'm here today.
Well, you're doing great, man, and my hat's off to you for what you've been able to achieve since, from where you came from, what you went through, and, you just turned it all around. And, a lot of our viewers, the people watching, we're going to cut some of these little clips up and have some of the highlights, and we'll put them back on our page and whatnot. We'll share those with you. But, it's all about just understanding, tying back to that growth owner, that no matter how bad things seem, and it's not that time component, right? It's not going to happen overnight. So just get that out of your head, right? You're not going to win the lottery tomorrow. And even if you do, it's not going to help you. You got to do it the right way. And you got to develop a system of accountability of saying, okay, this is what I want in my life. And goals are so huge. So many people just don't even think about goals. They're just kind of like, well, yeah, I want, probably, like $1 million or $2 million, it's like, no, it's like, this is what I want in each of my areas of my life, in my physical, in my financial, in my relationships. Like, you got to have those goals, and then you got to say, okay, what are the habits that I need to develop to get there? And you start developing them, and that's growth owner. You've been able to do that. My hat's off, man.
Yeah, exactly. I have what I call the battle list. It's my 6 critical tasks that I have to execute every day to get me towards my goals. What are my goals? Like you said, you need to know where you're going. It's pretty hard to hit a target if you don't know what it is, and preferably a time that you want to arrive at that destination as well. And then I have, okay, what are the critical tasks I need to do every day to get me there? If I want to have that nice physique, well, I'm going to have to put the right foods in my body. I'm going to have to do the work. I'm going to have to consistently do that. And you nailed it on the head with how we're used to that instant gratification today with social media, Amazon, everything's so immediate. So people, when they get in that out of their comfort zone, trying to push towards where they're going, they forget you need to compound that time. It takes time, and most often the good things we're going for take more time than the bad things take to develop on new habits and whatnot. So it's just staying consistent and incorporating routines that work for you. Habit stacking, because I'm sure you're aware of one of the favorite things from the top.
Oh yeah, my morning routine has a ton of habit stacking involved in it.
Here it keeps getting bigger and bigger, and then that's good though. Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, that's what's cool. Like habits, and then once we were talking earlier, it's like once they're, they don't care if they're good or bad. Once they're formed, they're going to do their thing. So if they're bad, they're going to compound. If they're good, they're going to compound. And your mind doesn't have to think about them. Like there's that front load, I call it the front loaded process of like reshaping a habit. So if you've got, I call them failure versus success habits. If you've got a failure habit, it's not going to be easy. It's got its claws dug in pretty good, right? And it doesn't want to let go. And you can't just do it once and be like, whoa, it didn't work. What happened? No, you gotta unhinge it, unclaw that thing. And then once the new one claws in, it's like, okay, that guy's on my back. I don't need to worry about him. Right? That's how the mind works. It's trying to conserve energy. That's why, and then it's working for you in the background and you're not even thinking about it. And so morning habit stacking, perfect example. Every morning I tore my ACL and my meniscus last year playing basketball. So now I do have to do stretches every morning. At first I was like, oh, what a pain in the butt. But now I have my mantra that I say to myself every morning that I've memorized. And so when I'm in the shower, every morning I do my stretches and my mantra at the same time. So
Nice.
I'm not even thinking about it, and it works out time-wise to finish at the same time. And then I come out of the shower and I'm like, boom, I feel great because I got the mind going, and then my body feels good because I did my stretches. I got that out of the way, and I'm ready to go.
Yeah, oh, that's so important. Morning routines is so important. I remember living in a life of wake up late, run around, get everything, get kids, go to work, and like those days still happen from time to time. And when they do, I reflect and look back. I'm like, I used to live every day like this. Like, what a reactive state getting into, and just trying to keep up for the rest of the day. It's not a good set. It's not a good tone to set for the day. That's for sure. I much prefer getting up earlier, have my morning routine, being in a proactive state where I'm going to actually start planning things out and executing and taking full ownership. And that's why I live every day as the best day of my life. I got to wake up. I'm happy. Is it better than the day my daughter was born? People ask me. Well, hell yeah. I have the memory for when she was born, and I have all the hard lessons that I've learned moving forward. And here I am alive to share that with the world and do my best. So that's the way I look at life, and I'm happy to share that with everybody who wants some. And if other people can't handle it, one day they'll get there.
One day they'll get there. Well, dude, yeah, we definitely gotta. So I'm creating this mastermind group, by the way, or mastermind group, just a network of people that are like-minded, to do some cool stuff with. So I think you might be somebody. If you're interested, I'd love to.
100%.
More. Okay, good. So I've got your email. We'll talk off camera. Where can people find you?
So you can find me on Instagram, Shaun J. Zimmer. My website is the Viking on Demand, and all my services are up on there. It's currently under construction, but 5 more days and we'll have it back up. So I'm sure when this gets posted out, people will see that. And yeah, Shaun J. Zimmer on Instagram, or the Viking on Demand. And you can definitely have me help you out where I can.
Nice, man. We'll keep doing your thing, and definitely we'll be in touch off camera. I love what you're doing. You're an inspiration, bro.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate you, brother. Take care.
All right, you too. Thanks.
Buddy.
That's it for today's episode of the 5 Core Life podcast with Will Moore, founder of More Momentum. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you have not already, please make sure to subscribe and follow the 5 Core Life podcast wherever you are listening or watching this so that you get notified when new episodes air every week. And if you have not joined the 5 Core Life Facebook group, I encourage you to join that and see what all of the fuss is about. There's some awesome content designed to get your momentum going, including a monthly giveaway to win a complimentary coaching call with the Will Moore. The Facebook group is currently the only place to get Will's dedicated attention on your 5 core journey. If you're feeling stuck or just want someone to cheer you on, then that is the place you need to be. There's nothing like a community of people on the same journey to get you fired up, kicking butt, and taking names. So come join us.
Well, get moving. Gain momentum. Join the movement. Join Emmett by going to moremomentum.com to take a free life evaluator quiz on where you currently stand in each of your 5 cores.